Trady tips with ET. Let's have a good night. I want everybody to ask as many questions as you want. This is really just a Q&A. We can walk through some things. Oh, we got one right away. How should we go about prepping for the week as the GEX from Friday is gone? Best answer to that question, Peter, is wait until Monday. Right now, and we'll go ahead, we can jump in. I think I have the SPY gamma opened up already, as always. So we were looking at Friday's exposure here at 427, which is, guess what? We closed in between 427 and 428. Those were our two largest levels. If we just go ahead and jump out to 10-2 Monday, it's a little bit different. Showing 424 is our biggest bar, and 431 is our next biggest. So right around there, right? But when we have those big gamma roll-offs, I like to wait until Monday at close to check the rest of the week. And I just want to point out, if we're going back to 929, I plan a lot of my trades. Now, nothing's perfect. Nothing works 100% of the time. I plan so many of my trades around these daily expiries, right? So I'll go through next week and I'll check every day, right? So on Monday close, I will see what 10-3 says, and I'll start to think about what I'm doing. So 10-3 is still showing right now. Same aggregate just about as 10-2, 425 to 431. Some decent sized pulls here there. So still in that box, right? So one of the things I do is check that data. It's very important to check this SPY gamma, okay? I think this SPY options page right here, to get there, you just go to this options page. I check the next day. I do map it out, Peter. Good question. I will map it out. Monday close, I will look at the rest of the week, and I will decide what I want to do. But I will check it every day, and I'll map out. Let's say 431 continues to be a big, large level. Too far below, I'm going to go long. Too far above, if there's no big levels here, I'm going to go short, right? But I'm going to pay attention to NetFlow, zero day gamma, all that stuff. Our NetFlow here, our ODTE GEX, right? I'm going to pay attention to flow map a lot too. I do that a lot. Any other questions so far? What would you like me to walk you through? Welcome, Willow. Hopefully you become a paid person soon so you can come in and hang out in our channel that we all hang out in all day long. For those of you who aren't subs, welcome. Hopefully you can see some things that might entice you, or maybe you just get to have fun and laugh and have a decent time. That's for sure. But we do have a pretty cool channel, MNF Trades, and in that channel we do a lot of interesting things. We have a lot of solid traders who are even better than I am, and they put up good charts. They talk a lot. We have Chetta and Cobain, and there's too many people to mention, to be honest, that are just fantastic. So it's a really good place to be. How do you find the swing plays, Doctor? All right. Well, let me find Scanny for you here. I don't have it open. So let's go ahead and go through, and I can talk to you about that. We can walk through kind of how I look for swings. Now, I just want to point out something pretty important here. Check Scanny after hours close. Okay, so after hours close for me is 7 p.m. Central. It might be 8 or 9 or 10 where you are. Check Scanny after that to get more complete data, okay? So that's a very important thing to do, is to check Scanny after. If you're checking it right after close, you're not going to get the same data, and you could actually screenshot it and see that it changes. So the first thing I do is I don't want to trade garbage. If anybody's been to my live sessions before, anything under 20 I won't mess with unless it's something that I'm buying and holding because of dividends. So here I put in my 15. I put in optionable, and then I just start going through some things, okay? So let's look for things that are at some support right now that are $15 and above and that are optionable. Okay, and then from there, I'm just going to start going through, and I'm going to read some of the signals that they give off. I'm just going to click through all of these, and we can see. I'm going to see if there's any signals that might entice me. There's stratters out there that use this a lot that really like it. So this one's interesting. Let's scroll up. This one has three signals that could be if you used any of these strat signals. That the 3 signals total that are green, one that's red. See, who's that? Epina, your mic is hot. Epina. So okay, let's say we're looking at C here, right? Okay, so if I'm looking for this swing, it's at support right now. So I'm going to be real simple with you. I'm going to show you the new charts page that Hader put out 2-3 months ago. Check to see a lot of things, and we'll go ahead. Oops, let's get rid of that cat there. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check customer puts, customer calls. Calls are kind of evening out here, right? We'll go ahead and check puts next. Let me find this person and mute them. Boom, got that taken care of. So puts have been way up. It's been in a pretty decent downtrend, so we can see that happening, obviously. So we see where that's been going. The next few things I'm going to check support and resistance, the AI drawn levels, right? So we're right here at this support level, just below it. Okay, losing that obviously. Oh boy, who's hot now? Oh, it's Ryan G. What's up? Your mic's hot. There you go. Coming in hot. Okay, so a few things I'm going to check, right? I'm going to check customer puts. I'm going to check customer calls. Puts are still up, right? They're not downtrending enough yet. Calls are pretty flat, right? So it could be some more consolidation in there, but calls are coming up a little bit. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look over here at these bars for customer positioning, okay? So we closed last week with some bullish. We got a little bit of bullish here, okay? This is on the options section right here. I'm also going to check seasonality for it. September, not a very good month, but guess what? October improves quite a bit. Okay, so C is actually looking like it could be a potential long swing. It's at a support. Okay, we know what its levels are. Now the next thing I want to do, and I want to remind you something, gamma is very important on SPY, QQQ, things like that. But it's a little bit less important on regular tickers. It doesn't work. The jury's still not out if it's the exact same. It has the exact same pull, exact same information as others do, right? As it does for the big indices. But I still do use it, and what I want to find is I want to find gamma levels, okay, that match support resistances. I say this all the time in some of my videos. I'm looking for gamma that matches SRs to help give me a nice thesis, okay? So if you look here, second largest gamma level is 46. So the next thing you can do is you can come to its dashboard and you can kind of search the aggregates, right? It's a little bit of work to find swings, but it's important to do so. So we're looking at C here, right? It's definitely got some call flow, but it's in the money, all right? And not too much higher up. It's net flow. I want to check its 5-day. I want to see what it looks like longer term. Still green, okay? So let's go ahead and scroll on down. I do want to see its performance here, but if it's low, if we don't have numbers that are astronomical, I ignore this portion, okay? I just don't look at its dealer Greeks in that set. What I will look at next is what its dealer OI looks like and what its customer OI looks like, okay? So dealers, this technically means that they are bullish, right? If it shows the bear signal. Now, I want to look at each week's expiry. So that's interesting. If you look at this week's gamma and you come back to its chart, 42 around here, right, would be a nice little gap up for C. So C, if it can hold this and get to 41.13, could be a nice move to $42. All right, but let's dive a little deeper. Let's get in just a little bit more and check some further out expiries to see. So 41 to 42 continue to be it. Pops off of 40, right? Pops off of 40, it looks like those are pretty strong gamma levels there, right? And 43 looks like it might be a topper unless we have a big day.
This year, they get exactly what they want. First drive, they get a chance to get Notre Dame off the field. They have the fake punt. They perched him. He kills some of them.
Okay, who's that?
Then they behind their own team in their own six.
Let me go through and find out who's hot. Wealth. No, Yobi C. You have been muted. Boom. Fix that. Fixed. Okay, so what I do is I start to look. I don't see anything too interesting here. It looks like truly it might range or consolidate for a while, but recheck this gamma. You know, after this week, if it had a little bit of a run up, recheck going into next week, and then double check where it looks with your support resistance levels. Ideally, what you'd want to see is a really big bar at 48 somewhere, which you do see on the aggregate technically. Okay, so you see that on the aggregate about 46, which would be up in this range. So if it can hold this 41 or bounce off of 40, you continue to see this. Hopefully that helps answer a question on that. We'll look at another one if you want. Let's go through, where was my scanning? There it is. All right, so now we've seen C. It looks okay. I don't want to mess with this one. I believe this is oil energy. I'm kind of looking to short right now, so even though it's out of support, I might look for it to break. Jets is a garbage airline, so I probably wouldn't play that anyways. Low liquidity options, right? McDonald's not looking too bad there, but let's flip this up now. Let's get rid of our at support, and let's look how we'd find a short. So we'll just open these up real quick. Look at this. Okay, so FedEx is at, that's 3 red signals, even though pocket pivot isn't something that I look at. So let's go ahead and bring up FedEx here. I did mute a P. Did they unmute themselves? No, it was somebody else, Jared. We had somebody else come in. Okay, so let's draw our levels out. FedEx is at this resistance right here. I think I'm on 2. I think I need to drill down another time frame to see it. But look here, its call positioning is starting to dwindle a little bit. Okay, so its call positioning is starting to go down a little bit. Let's look and see if its put positioning has gone up. It's also dwindling. So this is kind of a misnomer, a bit mixed. And if we look at its aggregate right here, its aggregate is showing quite a drop if it can lose 260, 270. Or 257.5. So let's bring up its whole picture here. All right, bring up its whole picture. It's got some thin flow there. It's starting to see a net flow rise in puts. Interesting to see there. Okay, so we come through. Let's check to see what its performance looks like here. This is an inverse of it, but none of these numbers are good enough for me to pay attention to. So big X, I'm moving along from there. Dealer OI is bearish. Customer OI is bearish. Let's look at this week's expiry. Below current price at 260 is its largest pull. That jives out with some levels. So that could be a nice short. Honestly, if I can see a pop, let's get this candle here to about 268, 270. I will gladly short this down to 260 this week. Is this helpful? Is everybody kind of understanding what I'm seeing here? You want me to look at EMPH, Dr. NG? Excuse me. I work around like 3,000 people a day, so I have basically every historical thing known to man as I'm going along here. So ENPH, we'll just take a look. Also an inverse. Got some numbers in here we don't like, so we move along from it. There is some bearish OI. Let's get all of its stuff here. It's really this simple of a process. Let me find wealth. Muted. Got it. All right, so looks like it got just a little above this resistance here. This actually looks pretty bottomed. Put positioning is trending down. Let's look at what calls look like. Calls are also trending down, oddly enough. Not sure I like this one much. It's down here at 120. If you see its two biggest pulls, 119 to 125. This gamma of 121 would be hard to pass, but it does. Still got some of that above. It could push up, push up, push up, and you could see a 125, which is really such a small range, but it could be worth a run there. This actually came on as a resistance, but it could be a decent long. I just don't like any of the data on it right now, so I put a scratch on it. Right? So if something doesn't look clear to me, what up, Mr. Tom? If something doesn't look clear to me, I put a scratch on it. Right? I'm looking for higher probability plays, and I can walk you through one. If you sub up to the free swing trades that I put out once or twice a week, or sometimes every other week, in the Tingle Dome channel, if your Discord subs up to that, Apple was the play last week. I had said let it pop a little bit, and every time it does, let's short it, which is what we did. So let's just go ahead and pull up Apple real quick, and we'll just take a look at what I was seeing. Let's grab it here. Let's grab it here. So call positioning had continued to go down throughout the week on it, okay? The next thing I saw was a gamma pull at 170 and a gamma pull at 165. And look at that. When I got my drilled down in my levels last week, okay, when I drilled down into my levels a little closer in, I saw about a 174, 175 resistance, okay, and I saw support at 167, 165. When it was 167, right around there, okay. So you can switch your time frames to get yourself some different levels. It will get rid of your calls and puts down here, but I kind of went through and just took a look to see what I wanted to see. This is probably where I was the 15. I was looking for some pops, right, and then some drops, and they lined up with gamma levels, because that's what's important to me, is SRs that lined up with gamma and lined up with positioning. Look how bearish this positioning was last week. Now look, we still have one more little week here, so I'm still going to look, and let's go ahead and get our customer calls and puts up real quick again, so we can take a look. Calls down, puts still up, they're trending up just a hair. So I'm still looking to short Apple pops, okay, down to maybe 165. If I can get a pop up to 180, that'd be great. I don't know if we're going to get that high, but that is how I plan out those trades. Yeah, I know it's not getting that high. I'm still gonna eye that 175 range for the. Oh sure, Zom, I've got you. Is there any role of term structure and volatility service in finding the play? I don't mess with that, Dr. NG, ever. It's just not something I look at. It's just not. It's not my style of trading. There's very smart people out there that use that. Let me scroll back up. Okay, go over GEX and VEX profile. All right, let's find one, Ryan, and we'll take a look at it. Not going to be good on SPY because it's all messed up due to some things. Pretty simple. Line below, price is most supported. Okay. Above zero, less supported. This is where dealers are currently more supportive of price. So if we look down here, we just talked about Apple, right? We start to lose a little steam right around this 166, 167 area. We had a gamma down to 165. So if we look, that's still a pretty decent short, because this is where dealers are supportive. This is how you start to kind of put some plays together, okay? Kind of simple, where you start to think, okay, I now have a thesis I want to follow, and I'm going to follow it. Since I'm looking for Apple short side, I'm actually looking for Apple short side on market green days, okay? So I don't want to short something that is already being beaten down and chase a win. I want to short something at predetermined levels, and it's so simple for me. I literally set price alerts on TV. I think you saw last week in MNF chat, I said I don't know when I set this alert, but my phone just told me to short JPM at 149. Literally TV sent me an alert at a little over 148 and said short this at 149, which I did. We ended the week at 145. Okay, so it was that simple. I just bought puts. and then I sold them when they hit a certain percent, and when it hit 149, I went ahead and bought some more and sold them again. Friday was a pretty good downtrend day, so it worked out better. I planned these things out in advance, and then I worked through them by setting alerts, and then when they go off, I recheck them. I just check real quick to see, did everything I want, does it still match up? Am I still interested in it? And do I want to continue that play? And then I go in. And for me, it's pretty simple. I set a 20% trailing stop on my plays immediately after buying my contracts. So there are very few permutations of me losing more than 20% on anything. If I was wrong, I was wrong. I can revisit it later. If I was right, my cons will follow price by 20%. So the worst case scenario is I lose 20%. Middle scenario is I break even and I just lose the price of the cons. And best case scenario is it goes beyond 20% and I still end green on that play. I try to not watch it. I try to automate it as much as possible, and I try to keep my emotions out of everything. Puts calls shown bar graph. Which bar graph are you talking about? Up here? Okay, let's see here. Zom. Let me jump in with Zom here for you, Mr. Tom. And Hawk, oh my gosh, I didn't even see you in here. Hawk, thank you for coming, my friend. And I'll look at Microsoft here in a little bit. Wolo. I think that Wololo. That's a lot. That's a lot for me to pronounce. So Zom's been a bit interesting. Oil has gone up. If you saw last week, I was looking for, I think, 119, 120 for the short. That worked, but I wasn't so sure that it was going to turn out the way I wanted. It's due the Greeks don't push out good numbers for us, so we put an X on it right there. Let's take a look. Going into 10.6, this is bullish right now, okay? So this is bullish, and let's go ahead and check our 10.6 expiries. Let's pull up Zom on our charts and see where we should be looking. All right, so put positioning is increasing. That could just be, let's be honest, could very well be because it had a little bit of a bad day. Let's check its call positioning. Still going up, still trending up, and our support resistance levels, we're kind of right below this 120. Now, can anybody see why I wanted to short around 120? These AI generated levels are absolutely money. All right, but let's dive deeper. Let's go ahead and see what we have going on here. Let's see how it does in the month of October, which has a pretty strong month, actually. Pretty good win rate. September, what do you know? Here's its seasonality for September, and it ripped through the entire month. All right, so this is a really important thing to look at as we go along and start looking at things. And if we can check SPY, so easy. Hater tweeted a lot about this. September is just historically bad. October gets a little bit better, and November we start to go nuts. So this is a short the pop month pretty much all of the time, right? And then in October we start to load dips a little bit into some leaps, right? This is where you start to draw out your levels, find out where bottoms might be, and start to get those at the money leaps 3-4 months out, maybe a year if you're really smacking heavy. But let's go ahead and keep looking at Zom. Let's go to its options dashboard. For this week, 121 is still its biggest pull, with 122 going up, so it might still see some more run up. 115 would be a support level on the chart, and guess what? It's a gamma level as well that's positive, and positive what? Repels, so it could be a bounce unless price goes down. We've seen green bars, a ton of them in a row, and price get below, and it just continue to push price away from it, down, 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 down. And we've also seen the inverse, where it can get above a price and it repels upwards. Remember, red pulls, green repels, but price is very dependent on where we repel from. We can repel up or down, right? So it's obviously mainly for SPY, but we'll see how that goes. Now here's what I'm looking at, Tom. 121, we get into here, is also a resistance on the chart, roughly 120.20, I think is what we saw. 115 is a support, and look what we have here for 2 weeks out. All right, so for 10.13, we see a gamma pull at 115, and that's also a support level on our chart. So now you kind of see how I roll through swings. Was that long-winded? Was that too much? Did I go too quickly? And this will be on the Trady YouTube after this, sometime this evening, obviously. It takes about an hour and a half for this video, for my program to process the video, and then another hour for YouTube to get through. But this will be on for anybody that wants to rewind. All right, so you want me to explain how I look at 0 day. Very good. So I'm going to simplify this as much as I can for you, and I've put some videos out, and let me write down Microsoft because Wolo asked for that. I don't want to miss anybody. I think I'm bullish on it if I remember correctly. You write that down. Okay, so here we are. Convergence is going to be a key when we're looking at MNF. I want you to pair these things together, okay? It's very important for you to look at this and for you to look at this. When convergence is gray, price is likely moving contrary to market net flow. So green, 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 gray, 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 gray. Price is still moving down, but guess what happened when we started to see those green pops? Okay, we started to get those little fluctuations and runs that followed MNF. So a simple way to look at it is, if you see a strong bullish MNF and you see green convergence and you see a level that is above where price currently is, pulling in a downward direction, okay, not pinned, because we get these ones that come down like right at open and just stay there, okay? If there's no movement in it, if it just shoots down and then goes flat, that's not movement. You want to see the ebbs and flows and things. See how 428 started to get down at the end of the day, okay, but then at the end of the day it ran back up. Look where we were rejected from at the end of the day. We ran up there and we got just a little above, and then we popped down below it, right? Because this level became positive, and guess what happens with positive levels? They repel. But also look here how 427 started to slowly trend down throughout the day, okay? Started to pull down our last bit here. It got a bit of a heavier run. Okay, we see that little neck there of it pulling down, and guess what? That helped propel it, right? So 428 and 427 pulling down helped propel price upwards towards that area because they were negative levels. Once 428 got positive, it struggled, pushed down below, and we finished kind of in between those two, I think at 427.44 or something. I think I was $1 off of where I thought we were going to finish. Is that helpful, Kristen? Did I go too fast? Anybody? Oh, target, feed your bias. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's take a look. I was long on this a few weeks ago and got stopped out, and then I've just been sitting on my hands since. So, got a nice spot there. October's win percentage does go up. Obviously, July was our spot, but if you can look, it actually didn't have the best of July either. Kind of, well, it did better than it is now, that's for sure. So let's go through and let's just check all of its data. Tom, 109 is a good spot. Very thin or to no data right here on 10.6. They were actually somewhat bullish last week, and that did not go well. Gets bullish for 10.20. No shocker there, is late month. We would expect some more, right? Its aggregate is showing a very nice run up to 125. But let's go ahead and check all of its stuff. People have been bullish, but it's not been working great for them. Been a lot of puts on the board, very thin there. Nothing too heavy as we go along here, right? When somebody asked, these areas here, this is just subtraction, right? This if it's big green, you're in a bunch of calls. If it's not, those are being sold off, and you're looking at puts. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look. It's too thin. It's almost as if, look at this, everything is so thin on it. All right, these are bullish positions going into 10.20, so that's interesting to see. Let's go ahead and check its next few aggregates. 115 is its biggest pull there, with 110, which is real funny to see as I keep talking about it. 109.56 is its SR, right? So right around that area. It's really, really, really important to me that we match up SR with the gamma to get a little bit more confluence in those things. Customer puts obviously have been thinning out, and so have calls. So we could see, and this is how Target always does it to us, we could see a long period of consolidation here before we rip back up to this 130. Let's look at its aggregate one more time. This week shows a little bit of upside if we can hold the 110. Next week doesn't have much besides a 112 gamma. Then going into our 1020, we start to see bigger pulls towards things with 135 up here. And about 130 here makes sense. If we just roll over a little bit, we can see rejections, right? When you're on this charts page, you can just kind of scroll down and see where price would move from. You could add that to your TV or TOS chart or whatever. So 135, looking like a decent run coming in. All right. Let's see here. Let me look up Microsoft really quick so Wolo doesn't get slept on. A lot of call flow going here that we saw last week, end of week. Not enough, but I think I was bullish on it for at least a couple of days. But I did get stopped out on one, and then I got back in and it went fine. So don't always win every trade. Puts are still going up here. We'll just take a look. 312, if you can see how strong that's been. Just look left, all right? Look left is so important. 312, if it can hold, gives you some nice leaps to 235, 230. Looking at its aggregate, though, it's got some down to 300 here, but we're going to go ahead and take a look a little deeper, dive into Microsoft, see what we've got. Then we'll look at Rivian. Ooh, sent it past the bill, nice. We probably go down 2% on Monday because everybody wants it to go up. So this is what I was seeing. Here's some leaps for 360 out to 2024. That's not too far away, obviously, if we're looking at it now, but that is quite a bit of money at 4.9 million. But it looks like they sold out of some here, maybe bought more in here. That's definitely an MM, probably having a good time. Fairly bullish, still not great on the 5-day. I do believe these are okay numbers, not very good, so we put an X on it, but it is a short when dealer deltas are above. Showing this week as a bullish position. Let's just go ahead and take a look at 10.6. That would be insane. Its biggest bar is 350. When we start to see these massive discrepancies here, then we just kind of don't look at that gamma, okay? That's too far OTM. 330 is definitely not. 350 is unless we have a crazy week. All right. Let's look at 1013. A little bit more clear. That makes more sense for us. 325, 330 biggest pulls. Okay. So that is how we look at that. Its GEX and VEX profile is wonky, so we ignore it. We want to see that bar. We want to see below and above. Right now we just see prices doing whatever the heck it wants in this spot. Hey, you're welcome. It really is if it can hold 312, and let's scroll down, let's see if there's some other spots here. It looks like 305 around there, and maybe 295 are some decent spots. Right, this spot here would be from either end. We had a wick right there on the left, which would be 292. So if you can get some dips on it, might be a good long. Microsoft's always a decent long to me. So, Rivian, not something that I usually play, but I know a lot of people talk about it. I stay out of anything. You guys are going to think I'm crazy. I stay out of anything I see on, what is it, Twitter, Zitter, X-Twit, FinX, whatever we want to call it. So, put positioning is dropping drastically, but as we can see, it just rocketed up. It has some decent biggest aggregate at 24, which is around where price is. Anything that I see anybody tweeting about, I ignore them. I just ignore it. So Rivian, technically, if it continues to run, does definitely have some room up to 39. Its put positioning has dropped drastically. Its call positioning is actually kind of tapering off weirdly in that area. However, you can draw your support resistance and you can draw your biggest gammas on here as well. It just gets confusing. It just adds a little bit of extra levels. Ooh, who's talking? Who's talking? Terry, Texas. Did you want to talk? I muted you. Let's go. All right, so let's take a look at its options dashboard. Obviously, it had a nice run, so it had a pretty bullish MNF. Still strong somewhat. You can see this tail off here and this curl up here. If those start to touch tips a little bit, I start to look at longer shorts. Dealer Greeks do not give me numbers that I like, so I say no thank you. Okay, some somewhat bullish positioning is going out a few weeks. And let's just check its gammas as we go along. 22 is biggest pull, with the 25 or with the 26 gamma push away, which kind of lines up with a little bit of our levels. If we scroll over and just look at our chart here, we saw some rejections right around there, 27, 28. So I don't know. I don't know on Rivian. If you've come to my live sessions before, when I get into these tickers that I don't trade, and that their data is always wonky on because they can be memes, I start to get a little sweaty, and then I start to avoid them. For your style of trading, do you trade weeklies, monthlies, leaps? How long do you normally hold? Okay, so Wolo, that's a very good question. I am a pretty conservative trader. I never buy, I won't say never. I rarely buy anything that is not at least 5 days out for SPY. And for my swing plays or even my day trades, if they go my way on regular tickers, I like 1 to 2 weeks as well. Generally two. I want to give myself time for my thesis to be correct. Okay. Now, as I said before, I set that 20% stop, so there's a lot of times that I'm incorrect, that I lose that play. And there are just as many times I lose that play and the next day it goes in my favor. But I respect my rules instead of letting my emotions manage my trading. Plain and simple. So when I'm looking for a nice swing play, I'm going to wait. Zom's a good example. I'm going to wait for Zom to get up to that 121, hopefully 122. And I'm actually already in some Zom leaps. They're a few months out. But if it doesn't gap up on Monday, I'll probably take profit and wait for it to go. Do I average down if it goes sideways? Well, that depends on the play. So I think an important thing to talk about is swing plays and scaling. When I buy, we'll just use even numbers, okay? If I am anticipating a swing and I think, let's just use Apple as an example, I think 177 is my spot, and I want to put $10,000 into the trade. My first purchase might be at 177, $2,500. And let's say I drew out another level at 179 and it gets there, right? Since I'm buying at the money and further out, the percents, kind of the Greeks don't destroy you as much as they would if you're buying weeklies and OTMs, right? So we were separated at birth. So I know every time I see you on Twitter, man, I'm like, I swear this guy's in my head. Is he peeking around? So let's say 177, 179, we get up a little bit. I'm probably not down 20% yet. So I might scale my next 2,500 there. Okay, so now I'm 5K deep in this 10K trade. And then let's say it definitely goes in my favor. Okay, let's say 100% starts to go in my favor, and I end up with my trail stopping me out and a win of 40%. Right? Great. Did I get the full 10K put in? I didn't. But did I end up green on a 5K play? I sure did. Right? It's just kind of simple math as I go along. For the most part, I am so patient that I wait for the tippy top of my levels that I'm looking for, so I don't have to do that. But it is common. It is common for me to, I call it MPS, money per stock, right? And so if my plan is to short Apple all week, and let's say I want to put 30K on shorting Apple, and I continue shorting every pop with that full bit of capital, okay, I apply the next bit to the short. So if I made 10K on one of them, My next short, I'm going to apply the 40K. I've set that money aside for the week to make sure the fruit pays for whatever it is that I want, if that makes sense. I know that might be confusing, but I do like to dedicate a certain amount allocated to my main thesis for the week, and then I just scalp SPY for the rest of the week, just messing around. And I might play 5-10 tickers during the week as well, but it really comes down to what I'm seeing from the Trady platform, and if there's anything that's being spit out that changes my thesis and makes me think a little differently, if that makes sense. So don't depend on calls and puts positions because index, yeah. Do I roll options to protect profit? Sometimes, Van. Sometimes. It just really depends. Not really that often, though. I do know Hydro's not in here. He's one of our users that's been around for a long time. He has been rolling meta put profits since the top, I think, and doing very well with them. He's a good friend. I talk to him every day, but he's been doing that. I just like to get in and out, Van. To be honest, I like my thesis to work. I like to be right. I like to take whatever the dealers or the MMs or whoever they are trying to get from me and get out. I will answer your question, Greg. I saw that. What numbers are you looking for? I'll show you in a second. Sorry. So these are somewhat bullish positions here on AMD. Doesn't have the best win rate we're looking for. Let's take a look at its 10-6, 103, and 90. Crazy to see, right? But we want to check this gamma again after Monday after close, like I said a little bit before, is when we have a bunch of gamma roll off on a Friday, we would definitely want to go back and recheck Monday after close to see if anything's been adjusted. Not a real clear picture there. This is a bit more clear, still showing 101. 101 to 113. It's not unlike AMD to move that far. It travels so much in 1 week. Okay, Greg. I don't know about AMD, Dr. K. I don't. Let's check. This is the kind of number we want to see, Greg. Total returns, bigger numbers in profit, right? Tessie does very good when its Greeks get way far down there into the red for your longs, and you can see these shorts. My goodness, when they get the big greens, things get out of control there. So, meta. Definitely. Does that help, Greg? Greg? Sorry, I think I may have called you Greg. All right, Hawk, well, this is an interesting one for me because I have been shorting the bejesus out of every pop on Meta. Really high win rate and in profit, yep, Greg. And I think I tweeted it out earlier that I still kind of am wanting to short this, but we're starting to get thin. We have a couple of weeks more here of bearish positioning. As you can see, our call positioning continued to drop, okay? And our put positioning is continuing to go up. Here's my thing with Meta, and here's my thesis on it, Hawk. It's held up well. It's truly held up pretty well in comparison to other things, right? It has somehow managed to not hit any of its massive daily triggers, and let's drill down a little bit and see what we can get on our 15. Right? Minus this big drop that we got that one day, right? It's really held up pretty well, and I'm just wondering if this massive consolidation is going to bring it down. The only issue that I have with it is it does have some gamma that still matches up with our support resistance levels. It is a short over.
Josh,
that was Baxter. Bax, you jumped in and started drama. So going into 10-6, bearish, 10-13. Let's grab its aggregate really quick. So 315 is its biggest pull with 290 as being, and that's a good range. That's a meta range, to be honest. I don't like its GEX. I know Bax is out having a good time and watching us. HR, he's HR for the whole Trady server, so hopefully he's figuring it out. All right, let's see here. We got somebody else that needs muted. There we go. All right, we got about 10 minutes left before I need to feed the wife. So this week, decent pull there. This matches up with daily, hourly, a bunch of levels we see on our charts. But this is my goal right here. Every time it pops, I'm grabbing 295s a couple weeks out, and I've just been doing it over and over and over again. In fact, I am so mad. Friday I said Meta's going down below 302.5, and I got stopped out on a bunch of shorts, and then those shorts went, I think, like 200% 45 minutes later. So I was pretty angry with myself. I've been muting everyone, Bert. I've been doing my best. I don't see anybody else that's lit at the moment. So what else do we have? We got about 10 minutes. Has this been helpful? Did everybody enjoy tonight? TLT. That's the most important thing, is are we having fun? And are we learning a little bit? I'm not gonna jump back in and do this again next week like we used to. To be honest, it's a lot of time and dedication. But I will occasionally throw out on Twitter, on Discord, that I am gonna do it, and we will have some fun. TLT's seeing that curl there. 5-day looking better. I muted Bax. I muted him. I shut HR down this time. No good numbers there. We pass. Some bullish positioning. Some very big bull positioning going into 1020. That's high. Hey, Maylin, that is not me that does that. That's actually the owner himself and the dev, Hater. So I will pass that information along to him. $88.5. Let's see where we are. Goodness, its largest aggregate is currently where price is. Wild. Let's check. Hey, you're welcome, Maylin. Calls are on the rise. Interesting. Puts are a little bit as well. Its gamma profile is wild, so I don't like it. I don't know what we have that matches up. Decent pull at 97. Another big pull right around where price is. So I guess, if we can hold this 88, some leaps here might not hurt. Let's just look along. Some gamma resistance at 89. If it can get above and push above, 90, push above, you're looking at a pretty decent gain there. Do I find NetFlow on the chart useful? Yeah, I do. So let me just go ahead and bring it up. Make sure, this is important, do not click this button. Do not click Algo Flow. That is SPY Algo Flow, and we do not use Algo Flow for indices. We use Algo Flow for individual stocks. We use NetFlow for everything else. So I will say, and Hater tweeted it out on Friday, this has been running clean. Oh boy, who do we got? Kramer, muting you. Gotcha. This has been working clean for 3 weeks, and Friday it showed this uptrend, and we really just didn't have much of one. We could kind of continue down, right? We had some spikes there. It really followed price more than anything, but with this even bit here, right? With this even bit here, we shouldn't have had as much of a downtrend as we did. Price should have just kind of continued to go upwards, but until we saw that big drop there, and then the end of day pop. So what I'm really looking for is what we saw is a nice uptrend throughout the day, or a nice downtrend throughout the day, and a divergence in price. Friday is not a good example, because guess what? We had divergences and they didn't necessarily play out. right? We had this big pop here. I guess that was a bit of a divergence now that we look at it. If we see this big pop right here, right, this big run up, and then price went down. So that one's actually pretty good. We got a decent run there, but probably not enough. 425 to 427, that's actually a pretty darn decent run. But that's kind of a hindsight looking play, so not really one we want to have. Here we see some more uptrend as price continues to go down. We did get that pop at the end, right? But really, when we're seeing these big uptrends, we should see these drops here, and then we should see a lot more up carrying us more upwards than we got. All right, this was just really choppy action, and it didn't. In fact, early on I went against my own thesis that I put on Twitter, that I was still shorting the pops, and that I thought Friday was going to be a bear trap, and I still bought some calls and got stopped out almost immediately before remembering my own words and flipping back to puts. I do use those a little bit, Greg. Do you use algo flow divergences for swing plays much? I look at them. I check to see if there's a big divergence building. It happens to the best of us, man. It does. It does. Uh-oh. Oh, Bobo. Mutant Bobo. Okay, so we are down to about 5 minutes. Anybody have any other questions? Yep, that's what I was saying, Mylin, but I also pointed out that the importance of convergence, Mylin. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. When convergence is gray, when price is moving contrary to MNF, convergence is usually gray. So when you see this, your likelihood of price moving against the bullishness is higher, okay? So when it's gray and you have green MNF, price is going to come down some, right? When it's green, you're going to start seeing those pops if it matches everything. We also, I don't believe we did have time frame continuity for portions of the day on flow line. What else we got? Couple more minutes. I do not look at it for weekly things, Maylin. I do not. I don't look at it as what it's pointing to for next week. I just look for the day. Algo flow for individual stocks, net flow for indices. Was there a big difference between algo and net? Yes, net flow, Wolo, is the entire market, the whole market, minus indices and Tesla. So it's the calls and puts for the entirety of the market. That's what net flow is. It'll be probably tomorrow morning, Van. It takes a few hours for it to process, and then for YouTube to process. But yes, the video will be up by tomorrow on the Trady YouTube. I just don't want to sit in my office for an extra 2 hours. Where can you find signature prints? Right here. Dark pool, second one down, type in the indice or type in SPY or whatever you're looking for. If you don't see anything up here, there are not sig prints. Okay? So if you don't see anything, there are not sig prints. I do not. Dark Knight, good question. Oh, you want me to look at Tesla? That'll be one we'll look at because you did ask earlier. Is that what you asked for, Dark Knight Tesla? I do not read Vanna and Charm Exposure by Strike. Major in MNF chat would be a better example of that. Put positioning is increasing on Tesla. Oops, we want calls. So are calls. Tesla's such a cult stock, I tell you what. It really is. A little bit of bear positioning for the next week. I have not looked at AI calls. That is a meme stock, and I don't play those. But I can look at it, AI, for our last one real quick. Sorry, whoever asked about the Vanna and Charm Dark Knight. Major in MNF chat is going to be your expert there. He even has a free newsletter. We went on Tesla and then I didn't show you the rest of the stuff. That was rude of me. Lines up pretty decent with some of our daily levels. 250 for the week shows its biggest pull, so too far above, maybe short. Too far below, maybe long up to it. Hey, you're welcome, Willow. For those of you, if you're subbed up to TT and you didn't go through the unlock premium portion, then you can't see all the premium channels in the Discord and you miss out on where we're all hanging out all the time. Just want to point that out. Call positioning is no good here. Put positioning is increasing. Oops. I don't know. Short the pops on AI is what it looks like to me. Average people crypto. It's a long name. Anybody else? Oh, we're at time anyhow. So I appreciate, for a beginner in Trady Ticks, where's the best to go for education on the platform? YouTube, about the past 10 or 15 videos. A lot of them, Jared, will show you just me walking through how I do things, talking about plays and why I like them, which will kind of help get you in the groove. There's some pretty short instructional ones as well. I try to keep things 15 minutes or below almost always, so you all don't have to listen to me drone on. And then Jared jumping into the Discord and making sure you've done the unlock premium so you can see the MNF channel. In there you can ask a million questions and everybody will take the time to try to help you. It is the most helpful Discord room I've ever been in my entire life. I will say we're a little wild. We do like our gift game. You will see more in the Discord, average people crypto. You sure will. That you'll look for hashtag MNF-trades is the channel that we're the most busy in, and we do get a little crazy, but we keep it appropriate, and we like to have a good time. We're a very close-knit group of folks. There's about 100 people that frequently type in there. We have some extremely talented traders and charters, people who give good information, and we just have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. So I would say jump in and talk in that channel. Don't be shy. Don't be shy at all, and just kind of come hang out and learn how we all use the platform and just have a good time with the Trady fam. That hits us at 2 minutes till. That's perfect time for me. I hope everybody has a fantastic night. And I will close like I always do. Make sure you take the time this week to just be a good person and be kind to people. If you see something you don't like, it's okay to walk away and not start drama on Twitter, especially if you see me tweeting for the platform. Don't go ham on me for no reason. Take it easy on everybody and be kind to the folks around you. Much love to all of you. Thank you for coming tonight. And we'll do another one of these kind of randomly like we did this night. I won't tell you about it till we're almost to the time. Everybody enjoy yourselves.